Bonani, welcome back to another episode of Hearty Thursdays. And this podcast, we're going to be talking about art, talking to the people that make the art, the people behind the people that make the art, and the people that make the art, but a lot of people don't know that they do. And today we are so excited to have a dancer in the house. Lesego NieKerk is a dancer, theater, and entertainment specialist. Welcome to Hearty Thursdays, and thank you for honoring my invitation.
Thank you for having me.
How are
Thank you for having me, and
you?
congratulations on Hearty Thursdays.
Thank you so much.
I think it's the bomb. I think it's so great that you're doing it. If there was ever a time to do podcasts, this is it.
Yeah.
And you jumped on the gravy train. You were brave enough to do it, and your team is freaking awesome.
They are.
So congratulations, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Actually, because our Afrikaans actually sucks, before you came here, I had to ask how to pronounce your surname. Because I was saying Van NieKerk, and then it was like, no, it's me. Van NieKerk.
Thank goodness for Nino. NieKerk. No church.
No church. Oh, okay. And then Van means surname.
Not really. It's not for NieKerk. It doesn't really mean
Doesn't
of no
translate
church,
well.
but well.
That's how it
Well,
is.
What are we going to say?
Please tell me about you, your background, where were you born?
I was born in Soweto, in Meadowlands Clinic. I was born in the last year of the 80s, so do the math. So I feel like I just made it in the creme de la creme of a special group of people. I grew up mostly ko Meadowlands, so I'd say my character was mainly built in the streets of Meadowlands. And obviously as the tale goes, we moved to the suburbs with the parents in the hopes of finding a better life for the children and whatnot. My parents then, when I started primary school, my mother couldn't fetch me at 1:30 for after school, because people work. So then the one day she was like, Lesego, I need to make a plan for you. So what's your story? Do you want to go to karate or ballet? Because I need to put you somewhere until 4:00 when I can come and fetch you from school. So in my little brain, I was like, but karate's for boys, ballet's for girls. I didn't have a predisposed love for dance. I used to love to sing. I used to love Whitney Houston. So I would sing in front of the TV, whatnot. And then the reason I chose ballet is because I'm a girl. So I went there, and I think within a week, my teacher was like, hey, ma'am, this child is talented. So my mom never forgot that. And then she always kept pushing for me to dance. So I started dancing when I was 5, went to 3 different primary schools because life happens, and then eventually found myself at the National School of the Arts, where I was able to really settle and really focus on this thing, dance. And then my career started straight after that, literally.
Oh, wow. I think I'm a person that doesn't believe in coincidences, and I think things happen exactly how they're supposed to happen. For instance, if I was supposed to be a dancer, I would be probably depressed and at home because there were no opportunities where I'm from for dance. So your mom not being able to fetch you and having to put you in some extra moral activity, it was supposed to be like that because you were supposed to be a dancer. And that's very, very beautiful. Do you remember your earliest memory of being exposed to art?
I think that was it, hey? Besides the normal things that we experience as people growing up, growing up in a Black family in Soweto, a very culturally rich township, the arts are really around us all the time. People are always dancing, people are always singing. I think as Black people, not to make it racial, but I think as Africans and Black people, we're naturally artists. Because, think about how we operate in a church. We don't need drums or cymbals. We clap and we sing and we all harmonize and we know, okay, lona uzongena, lona uzongena ngaphansi, siyangena sonke.
It's so
And you know what I
beautiful.
mean?
And none of them went to school for it.
None of them went to school for it. We dance. That's what we do. We dance. Even in church, when you're singing, there's always a step nyana. There's always... So I can't say there was a moment where I was like, boom, I was exposed to the arts. I think the arts were all around me. I grew up listening to Abba Whitney, Abba Watna, and that is art in itself, But a direct, deliberate exposure to the arts was when my mom decided to put me in ballet.
Oh, that's nice. So you have 14 years of experience.
Yeah, 14 years of professional experience. I call it professional experience.
Oh my goodness. That's like that's like a whole teenager.
It is. It's an entire child that can backchat.
True, true. So like when you first went to those classes and you first started dancing, and did you know that actually I want to do this, or did it take a long time to actually be like, I want to do this for the rest of my life?
I didn't know you can do it for a living. For me it was the place that I go to wait for my mom. You see what I'm saying? So it was, but I developed a love for it. Where I really realized that I was good at this thing was, I think I was maybe 10. And I remember my teacher, whenever we would have exams, out of the whole class, she used to come to me and say, if you get a distinction, I'm buying you a chocolate. And in the beginning, it used to upset me because I was like, but this man, why is she doing this thing? So I told my mom was like, no, you have to understand that she's doing that because she sees something in you. So then I was like, oh, hang on, I think I'm good at this thing. But still, I didn't know that I could make it a career. So now it's just pushing as hard as I was pushing in maths, then I started pushing hard in dance, because then I realized, oh, hi man, I'm good at this thing. It was maybe when I was about 12 years old that I saw people dancing for real for the first time. I was watching SABC 2 and I'm busy scrolling. Hi, man, there are these bodies, naked bodies, a man and a woman dancing a parade. A parade is a duet. At the time, I didn't know what I was watching, but now I know it was African Footprint. Hi man, ke shebile batho bana. I've never seen, first of all, Black people dancing like that. Usually for me, being exposed to ballet, all my ballet teachers were white, number one. But number two, ballet is a white thing. I've never really seen, even all the people in my ballet class, everybody was white. So for the first time, now I'm seeing these people, I'm like, okay, these people look like me. Okay, that's a Black man, that's a colored woman. Aibo. But this is a real stage. Wait, I'm hearing people clapping. Aye, they doing. And then at the end, and I started seeing the credits, and I was like, African Footprint, what is this thing? What's going on? Then I realized that there are people out there that are actually doing this thing for real, for real, for real. But still, it did not dawn on me that I could be that person. It was in matric. I was at the National School of the Arts, and then my uncle, he asked me, he said, okay, babes, listen, what's your story? Because you're not saying anything. It's March, like time is going. O tlo bereka jwang? And I said, hey, malume, I get sure. Like, to be honest with you, I don't know. He said, do you want to study? I kept quiet. He's like, do you want to dance? I'm like, maybe. But I never thought it was that conversation that opened my mind to be like, do I want to dance? Anyway, so then my uncle, we were at my grandmother's house where I grew up, Kumidolens. But at that point, I wasn't living there anymore, but I was there for the weekend. So he said to me, no, it's fine. Put on your shoes. Let's go. Let's take a walk. I'm like, oh, where are we going? Okay. We leave. We take a walk down the road. Like a minute later, we stop outside someone's house. Some guy comes out. Right? They greet each other. They greet each other. My uncle says, this is my niece. Lesego ke Thabo o. Thabo o dances African Footprint.
The one that you saw.
The one that I saw. So I'm like, you're a dancer. He says, yes, I'm a dancer. I'm like they pay you. Like they pay you. He says, yeah. I'm like, how does that work? Where are you dancing? He's like, no. I'm going to wherever. He named some exotic place. I'm going there next week, whatever. I'm like, hang on. You're going on an aeroplane to go and dance and then get paid. That's what you do. My mind was blown. Anyway, so my uncle says, I brought Lesego here to meet you because she doesn't know what to do. So I just want to show her some possibilities and whatnot. So anyway, Thabo says to me, no, actually in August, there's an audition for African Footprint. So, I'm like, yo, August, I'm in matric. August, prelim, it's that time, so we go away. My uncle's like, are you going? I'm like, I kind of feel like I have to now because, and then I told him the story of when I saw Footprint on SABC 2, whatever. So my uncle's like, okay, so now you have to go. Turns out the audition was on a Monday. Yeah. But now I had a mental change on that day when I met Thabo, because up until then, I never really saw myself as that. I was just going to school and just doing my best. The way I would do my best in a maths class, I was doing my best in a dance class. It was just a mark thing. It was, But from that moment onwards, when I went back to school, I went into dance class with an intention. Now, every plie that I did, every jete I did, every tendu that I did, every time I put on my leotard, every time I walked into the studio, my intention was very different. I'm coming in here because I'm going to African Footprint. Hey, in fact, I told one person, I told my one of my best friends at the time, we're actually still very close now. So I told her, I said, hey, babes, this is what I heard, ne? So, are we going? She says, no, we're going. We're training for Footprint. Hey, the day comes, through Bob. The day comes, Monday, I walk into the change rooms, into the locker rooms. I go to her locker. I say, are you ready? She's like, yes, I'm ready. I stand in front of everybody. I say, ladies and gentlemen, no, it was a girls' dressing room. Girls, listen, I don't want to keep this opportunity from anyone. I'm just letting you all know that I'm banking school. I'm going to Gold Reef City. I'm going to audition for African Footprint. You can come with me. You can stay. The door's open. Only 2 came with me. The one that was preparing with me, and then one other girl came with me. And then I threatened them to not tell my maths teacher I'm banking school. Sorry, Mr. Bason. So anyway, I Safika La Payana, we took a taxi at Brie, we got to Gold Reef City. Hey, there were so many people. No, absolutely not. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. My mom would have killed me. How are you banking school? And I was the deputy president of the RCL. The girl that I took with me was the president of the RCL. So we were breaking all the rules. Sorry, teachers. I'm really sorry. But look at me now. You know what I mean? I had to do it. I just knew in my gut. I was like, I can't. I just knew, you know? And I had put so much work in that whole year. Like I was training for that moment. So anyway, I got there. These professionals, you can see, these people, this is what they do. I was so intimidated. But then I told myself, you know what? Lesego, you're here now. So, babes, you take a number. I was 100 and something. You take your number. It was a lot of people. Put it here. I'm copying now. I'm watching the professionals. Okay, okay, find a spot. Yeah, man, you copy because I've never been in an audition. I've only been in one audition in my life, and it was to get into NSA. And even then, it's very different. They treat it differently with children. It's teachers. It's a school. This is the real deal, you know. So anyway, okay, the audition happens. I get through the first round, get through the second round. Before you know it, I'm like at the end. So I'm like, how? Then they say, okay, listen, now we're going to do parade. I'm like, parade? I've never heard that word before. Parade. What is that? There was a guy who was next to me who ended up being one of my best friends in the industry. And he's standing next to me like, parade. He's like, duet, darling. I'm like, oh, duet. I've never danced with a boy in my life. So we're going to do this lift now. So can you I'm like, ooh, lift. Okay. Can you show me? Can you explain? He's like, no, I can't show you, but I can explain. I'm like, no, it's fine. Explain. I've never been lifted off the ground. He explains the lift. It is a massive lift. So I say to him, I'm like, okay, so where's he going to hold me? He shows me under the armpits. What must I do? Swing yourself around. How must I be at the top? He shows me your leg is like this. I said, okay. This Katlacho is sitting like, babes, do you know what you're doing? Because now he knows my story. I'm only 17 years old. I'm in matric. I've never done parade. And I'm like, I got this. Strus Bob, 5 seconds later, I'm in the air. And I remember seeing the executive producer, Debbie Batshoffen, and she's watching me. And she just smiled and she looked down and she wrote something. I don't know what she wrote. Anyway, the audition is done. She says to me, great, we've got a contract for you. We're taking you. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Where are we going? She says, we're going to New Orleans and then we're going to Mexico in October. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Sorry, I can't make it. Actually, I'm writing finals. Finals for what? For matric. How old are you? I'm 17. There's panic in the room. Now there's panic in the room. Asking, Taba, are you 17? I'm like, yeah, here's my ID. I'm really 17. Okay, so then the company manager comes. She says, look, we can't take you now because we thought you're ready. But when you're done matric, call us. We've got a contract for you. We're going to America in January. We are taking you. I am naive. and innocent. I'm thinking these people are just being nice. They just want to let me go nicely. They don't want to hurt my feelings. They've just heard I'm a child. I go away. I don't tell my mom. I don't tell my uncle. I don't tell anyone. My friend knows because she waited for me. She's the only person that knows that African Footprint wants me. I kept quiet. Matric ends. I don't say anything. I don't call anybody. I get a random phone call. Hi, Lesego. Hello. This is whoever from African Footprint. Hi, Lesego. Yes. Because you fill in forms and whatnot. So they call the number. I'm like, how Footprint? They're like, did you write your matric? I'm like, yes. They're like, did you pass? I'm like, well, I don't know. The results are not out yet, but I'm pretty sure I passed. I'm a smart girl. I think I passed. Lesego, we're waiting for you. We've got a contract for you. We're leaving for America in a month. I'm like, what? I thought you were joking. They're like, darling, we don't joke about stuff like that. Can you be in the office next week to come sign your contract? We need you to start rehearsing. A week later, I was signing a contract. I was in the studio. 3 weeks later, I was on an airplane in Alaska performing with African Footprint. And that is how my story went.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. I wish I had a cool story like that to tell. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. So when your mom found out that you actually have to go to America, what was her reaction?
Well, the thing is, my mom's reaction started from the moment I was refusing to apply to universities. I don't know how to explain this thing, but I always say I didn't chase dance. Dance chased me. I knew in my gut that I'm not supposed to go to any university. I'm not sure where I'm going, but I'm not going to TUT. I'm not going to Wits. Angilapho mina. So there was already conflict between me and my mom because she's like, but you need to apply. I'm like, I can't do that because Letswalo laka is telling me that that's not where I'm supposed to go. So by the time I tell about Footprint, she's like, oh, no, you always knew. I'm like, no, I didn't. Yes, I auditioned in secret, but the Struce Bob, I did not think these people were going to call me. I guess my spirit was just talking to me to say, just hang on, something is coming for you. It was tough, hey, because I come from a family of academics. Everybody is a something of some sort that is learned and whatnot. And now here I am that's coming and saying I want to dance. That was unheard of. So what had to happen is my father had to sit down and mediate between me and my mom to say, look, if we stop this child from going, like who in this family can say they've been to America? Who are we to stop this child from opening the doors for the rest of us? Because once she goes, everybody's going to follow after, So my dad was like, I think we should let her go. But Lesego, what is it that you can offer us to put us at ease? So I said to them, okay, guys, no, it's chilled. Give me a year. Let me go run around with these people. Let me go across the world. Let me dance. Let me do what I need to do. Give me a year. I'm going to come back. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm studying. Okay. We shook on it, contract, we happy, mom's happy, dad's happy, we all good. I go to America, come back 3 months later, I say to them, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to study, enrolled in June, I enrolled for a business management, I can't really remember what I enrolled for, but what it ended up being was a degree in economics. So I did a Bachelor of Commerce in Economics. I did that on the road. So for 5 years while I was traveling with Footprint, I was studying on the road. Yeah, so hey, we traveled. Abo ma America, abo ma Canada, abo ma Mexico, bo China, bo France. Re di tsamaile ditaba tse kaofela. And we were performing in South Africa as well. But all the while, I was studying. So I'll never forget this night we were in Lyon in France. And we finished performing and we get on the bus. It was such a hectic schedule. I think at that point, I must have been about 20 years old. We get off the stage. We need to load the bus. We need to travel 10 hours to the next city to get straight to the theater to do a placing. And then only in the afternoon can we go to the hotel to shower, maybe grab an hour nap to then go back for the show. That night, I was doing the lead performance. I get on the bus. I watch my colleagues switch off their lights, sleep. Yes. That day. That's when I knew. I was like, guys, nothing comes easy. Nothing comes. I made a promise to my parents. I shook on it. I can't falter. I can't falter. I need to keep up my end of the stick. Kalaita. Kabala mama. And I studied and I studied. And that was my life. That was really, really my life. There would be times where maybe it's the last day of the tour. You know how it is. It's nice. The cast is going out partying. You're in Paris. You're in wherever. You're in great cities. You're in Mexico City. People are partying. When on a assignment, or there was the time when I was coming back from tour and 2 days after I had to write an exam. You understand? So, as much as yes, I was very, very lucky in how my career started, I had to make a lot of sacrifices so that I could start my career. So those were some of the things that I was facing in the early part of my career, having to juggle being a full-on performer, traveling around the world, and then teaching myself, because I wasn't going to lectures. I was teaching myself. I was teaching myself economics. So it was hard, but I graduated eventually.
Oh my goodness, I'm sure that took a lot of discipline. Like I should come and take discipline classes from you because I struggled in that. I want to understand, how was it like? Because like dance and economics, very different things. Like I was doing biochemistry for 3 years at UJ, and I was depressed the whole time. Even got admitted, even it was that bad because it was just like, I'm an artist. I know in my core that I'm an artist and that's what I want to do. And I know how I feel whenever I'm in an art space. And then now I have to come here, I have to go to a lab for hours and I have to do these things. So how is that like for
You know, I don't know how I did it, to be quite honest, because I also look back, I'm like, girl, that was some serious discipline on your part. But I think the first thing is nobody pushed me. Yes, yes, I shook on it with my parents. Yes, it's true. I shook on it. But remember, they gave me a year. I came back 3 months later. And what happened was, and this is what I always tell young people when they ask me, I just got this new job. What must I do? I say, open your eyes, open your ears, watch, listen, learn. You'll pick up a lot when you watch and listen to the people that are older than you, that have been there, that have done that. So that's what I did. I got to Footprint, and yes, I was excited to be on stage. And I mean, can you imagine being 18 years old, getting a paycheck to dance in a prestigious company like African Footprint? That thing can make you go crazy as a human. So I don't know where I got my grounding from. I don't know where I got that grounding from. But what I did was I got to the company and I used to watch. I used to listen to the older people. And they used to complain about things like, yeah, my tax is this, my tax is that. I need to. I used to listen to a lot of the things that they were saying, and I was like, there's a problem with business here. There's an issue with business. So I thought, okay, I don't want to be their age and complaining about the things that they're complaining. How am I going to do that? Maybe I need to teach myself business. So that was the reason why I went with business management initially. Within business management, you then take other courses. So you need to take accounting, you need to take labor law, commercial law. Then I was introduced to economics. Yes, I was introduced to economics in school, but it's not the same. Economics in school, I don't know now because I come from a different school. Excuse me. So I don't know now, but at the time, economics was almost like a sub, it was like technology. They were like second grade. Yeah. Second grade. Yeah. Whereas I feel like technology and economics should be at the top because that's what's running the game right now. But hey, that's not what we hear about. So I was introduced to economics in the business management course, and I was like, I get this thing. I just got it. My brain just got it. I'm quite an academic, so that's how I found it. So I wasn't pushed into it. I chose it. I was like, no, actually, I think this thing is great. At the time, I didn't understand how I was going to marry the two. But sitting here as the woman that I am now, oh my God, it's so easy for me to marry the two. We still don't really, I think there's only one university in the country that really looks into the economics of the arts. And even then I have the problem with how they do it because it's very after the fact. They study the economics of the arts after the thing has happened. Nobody is forecasting the economics of the arts. And I think that's why we're in the problems that we're in as artists. So arts and the economics are actually not that far apart. They're actually quite close together. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. which then is tying into a lot of the work that I'm doing. Yes, it's still going to take me a while to figure out how I can really bring that part of myself in, but they're not that far apart. And we do need economists of the art.
That's true. Understanding, because like as an artist, you're a business, and you have to understand. Also, okay, this check comes in. I need to pay rent for 5 months, and in that 5 months, I might not get any gig. I need to eat in that 5 months. I need to make sure that if you're a painter, I have got canvases. If you dance, I've got. When I go on stage, I can't go with things that don't look appropriate. If I'm a poet, I need to make sure I have a pen, I have a paper. So it's things like that that we don't get to consider. So when the money comes, we're like, okay, it's great, let's celebrate, let's pop bottles. So
That's
we.
even more business. If you think about
Mm-hmm.
economics, the most basic law of economics is the law of demand and supply. I cannot
Oh
supply something if
wow,
there's
oh
no demand
wow,
for
oh
it.
wow.
Now, think about the demand and supply issue let's just talk about South Africa. I find that there's a huge supply of the arts. There's a huge supply. There's a lot of artists in our country. There's a lot of people making art. Look at us right now, we're making art.
Yes.
My question is, do we have an equal demand for it? No, we don't. We don't have an equal demand for the arts. That is why we need to rely on so much funding. That is why, whereas you look at the market in
True.
America, the supply and demand in America, the demand is very high, to the point where in America, they don't really get much government support. It's very much a private sector. The arts is very much a private sector because the demand and supply of it is almost neck and neck. So for me, I'm sitting here saying, guys, yes, we're going to keep supplying art as South Africans. It's what we do. We can't help ourselves. It's part of who we are. As South Africans are artists. Even when you're not an artist, you are an artist in South Africa. We need to start building the demand of it. How are we going to build the demand? We need to develop audiences. Right now, our audiences are very centralized. If you look at who the government is funding, the theaters that the government is funding, only 6 theaters. And the 6th one was just adopted less than a year ago. Only 5 of them. And I don't want to bore you with the economics, but it's important because the state theaters in Pretoria, Playhouse is in Durban, Artscape is in Cape Town, Packoffs is in Bloemfontein. Those 4, if you look at the location of them, they are located in what were previously white provinces. In the previous, so your Transkais, your Ciskais, if you look at the geography, so the Market Theatre was added because of the work that they were doing during the apartheid struggle, right? When you look at the areas, they are in elite areas, CBDs, towns. Most of our people can't get to those places. And no, community centers are not getting developed. Theaters are not getting constructed. There's no arts in schools. Those are the kind of things that are going to build the audience and therefore build the demand so that we can start becoming less and less reliant on funding. But we're not doing that. So we're always going to have a high supply, low demand. Just the basic law of economics. And we still have not figured that out as a country.
Oh my goodness. And I'm so glad this conversation actually led here, because the reason why I started this podcast, and I think I mentioned it when we were having a call, it is because if you go to any theater play, you're going to find theater makers. And it's just like we are making art for ourselves, and we don't really, like, even if we can try to support each other as artists, we can't really do that much. People don't understand art, so people are not going to consume art. Like if you're trying to sell a painting to someone from Zola, they don't really understand this thing, so they can't really engage with it. Um they can't really relate to it. So for them to understand, like where I'm from, for instance, they don't understand that dance is art. They don't understand that theater is art, like acting is art, that writing is art. So how are they then going to get to the point where they can actually consume or spend money or their time, even if it's a free show? People don't come. Like I've been part of shows that were actually free, but there were no audiences. So it's just like then it wasn't money. The problem wasn't money. Exactly. Because they don't get it.
They don't get it.
Get
Yeah.
it. So it's
You
just
have to develop audiences. You have to develop audiences. White people didn't just love art because they were developed into it. It's the same. So, art, guys, art is, I said to you before we started, which I have given it to you, art is the business of the heart. And if you look at, I could go on about this topic forever. Art can liberate us from unemployment. The majority of people, never mind the fact that there aren't enough corporate mainstream jobs for people, people can't afford to get that kind of education. We're sitting with a population of children that are sitting with student loans and they don't have a job for the loans that they took out. Arts can provide a solution for that. But we're not doing that because we don't realize that we need to put arts in schools already at a young age. I am an artist today because I started dancing at the age of 5, not because I discovered it at 17, because I was introduced to it at the age of 5. If you think about art as a spiritual factor, our people at the moment, we're dealing with a lot of heavy things. Like, it's a bit of a shitty world at the moment. And I think people are struggling to have an outlet. People are struggling to, if you think about how we lived as people back in the day, when you look at, for instance, ancient Kemet, how did they express themselves? Drawings. Look at the great Sanusi Ukredo Mutwa. When Credo Mutwa sees the things that he sees, what does he do? He writes a song about them. He writes a play about them. He does a sculpture about them. He draws and he says, this is what I saw last night. I can't explain it to you. I need to do it in an art form. Credo Mutwa always called himself an artist. When I started studying that man, I realized, art is actually the liberator of African spirit, African souls. But the problem that I'm finding, and I'm not bashing anyone, but the problem I'm finding is that art is not given enough space or support. And if anything, I find that art in this country is suppressed, and therefore artists are suppressed. Now, when you suppress art, you're suppressing a huge spirit. So we can't be surprised when people are acting a fool. We can't be surprised when people don't know how to outlet, when children are beating each other eskolweni. Mina eskolweni besingashayani. We were too busy doing tondus and saying monologues. You see what I'm saying? To be hitting each other. We were too busy expressing ourselves in that way. So for me, the arts are an answer to a lot of things, guys, but we need to be visionaries to be able to see this thing and then implement those things so that we can, God.
That's so true. That's so true. Oh my goodness, that's so true. That's so true. Tell me, when you first went to America, it was in Jan, right?
Mhm.
So how was it like? Like, I've never been outside of
Cold.
South Africa. Well, really?
Yeah, my first stop.
Oh, it was winter that side. Oh,
January.
yeah.
It was winter. We stopped so we flew through Heathrow.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through so much for my first trip. Flew through Heathrow with all its terminals. Almost lost my bags. Then went to Washington. So I think I traveled for like 18 hours just to get to Washington. Spent a night in Washington. Experienced American TV for the first time, which is a phenomenon. Like, American TV is really a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Then the next day took a plane to Alaska. I forget about the name, but my first professional show was in Alaska. Now, Alaska is right at the top. It's like in line with the North Pole.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those places where if it's winter, it's dark right the way through. And if it's summer, it's light right the way through.
Oh my goodness.
So, few things. The first thing, get out of the airport at Alaska, try to breathe, and I start choking because the air is so dry and so cold. So I think for at least 2 days, I couldn't breathe the air. So my system was, if I'm leaving the building, get into the bus and then breathe. Until one day I decided to go play in the snow and actually get accustomed to the... Second thing is the snow was knee deep. I kid you not. I step in and it was knee deep.
Oh my goodness.
Deep. The third thing, our performance was, the stage was created on an ice rink. So not only are we in Alaska in ice, we're in an ice rink. It was just very icy.
Were you not numb? Like, wasn't your body...
Darling, I was so excited. I didn't care. I was so excited. The company was complaining because they've been at it like... I was just like, you guys are cold. Let's get out of one. You can have my jacket. I'm fine.
Oh, wow.
I was so excited. Yeah, but it was... that was my experience. And it was just traveling really, really opens your eyes. I mean, to think that darkness does not necessarily dictate the fact that it's night.
Yeah.
That for me was mind-blowing. Light does not necessarily dictate that it's daytime. So on my first morning when I woke up in Alaska, I woke up normal body clock. And I looked outside. I was like, yo, it's dark. It's still early. I went back to sleep. I wake up again. I'm like, hi,
Hey,
man.
it's still dark.
I've been sleeping for a while. I go back to sleep. Wake up a third time. I'm like, something's wrong. I know I'm excited, but whoa. So I call reception. I'm like, hi, just wanted to find out what time is breakfast. Oh, ma'am, breakfast ended 10 o'clock this morning. Sorry, what time is it? It's 1 p.m., ma'am.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, can you guys come fix my alarm clock? Thank you. So that was my one of like my first experiences being overseas. It was and it was great. Like the tour started right at the top, which is Alaska. And we did the east part of America and we worked our way down. I mean, we then did Detroit, we then did New York, then we came down, Boma, Michigan, Boma, and we worked our way all the way down to Texas. It was really, really an awesome experience. I think altogether we did over 10,000 kilometers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was really
and
awesome.
you guys were just using a bus
Yeah.
all the way. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That must be oh wow. I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to my first international trip. I don't know when it's gonna
once when we flew up to Toronto to Canada.
Okay.
We flew into Canada, but that was the only time. And then we flew back into New York. And
then
we
you carried on with the bus. Oh, that's nice. So you are the chairperson of SADA.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it.
Okay. The South African Dance Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
So it was started by myself and two of my best friends in the industry, Lee Sophia Piet, who's also a dancer choreographer, and Ipileng Merafe, who is a dancer and a ballet teacher. So what happened was in COVID lockdown. Hey, in fact, COVID was another thing, hey, for all of us, right?
Yeah.
So I noticed a few patterns that were happening around me. For instance, the person that I was living with, their office, like after the next day of lockdown, their office called and said, we're delivering you 3 computer screens, your office chair, your office pillow, and every morning at 9 o'clock, we're going to do a Teams meeting, not a meeting for work, just a meeting to be like, Mama, how are you doing? Are you okay? So I'm watching this movement in the house. I'm like, how? And then I look at myself. Nobody called me. Nobody asked me how I'm doing. Nobody delivered a dance mat for me. Nobody asked me if I'm injured. Nobody. And in that moment, I was like, I'm alone. I'm alone. I've worked so hard in my career to find myself in this moment where I am alone. I belong to an industry that did not know what to do with me. In a moment of crisis, other industries knew exactly what to do. On day one of an unprecedented thing that is happening around the world, a lockdown, and they knew what to do. We're sending you 3 computer screens, your laptop, your this, and then Sizobona throughout the rest, how we support you. That was day one. Hey man, this was very frustrating for me. So I started a small community with some lady friends, and every morning we would work out. I'd take us through a workout. I was trying to create ways to really function and be sane as a dancer that was not able to do what we all know. Lockdown was very hard on artists. It was brutally challenging for us. Then after our workouts, we then sit on the phone for like another hour. Hey, siya complainer. We do what artists do best. Siya complainer. And I remember one day, I'm like, ladies, I'm tired of complaining. Hey, what are we gonna do about this thing? What are we really gonna do? And we're like, and we've heard this so many times. We need a union. We need a dancer structure. I said, we're doing it. That's what we're doing. Okay. Serious. Yeah. Calls, man. Now we're making moves. Before you know it, by I think June, we had registered.
Oh, wow.
No, we hadn't registered yet. June, we had decided we're doing it.
Okay.
Then by September of 2020, I Am for the Arts is now popping up. Boma Stand Foundation are popping up.
Oh, yeah.
Our confidence was knocked because now we're like, who are we? Who do we think we are to just come in here and start this thing? I don't want to lie. Like the insecurity set in that moment. And we were like, okay, let's just pretend this didn't happen. Let's just track back. Okay, cool. Life goes on. Now we in February of 2021, I get invited to Stellenbosch to partake in something for the Stand Foundation. While I'm there, they like, listen, we've been watching you. We think you're great. Can you join us as a board member of the Stand Foundation? Huh. Okay, cool. Join Stand Foundation. Through that, I then get invited to be part of the interim steering committee of the Theatre and Dance Alliance. Theatre and Dance Alliance is the theatre sector. So everybody that, all of us are part of the theatre sector. Poets, writers, actors, singers, everybody that can function within the theatre and dance space is within theatre and dance. So when I got into that initial meeting, there was SAGA, which is the South African Guild of Actors. There was ASITEJ, which is the one for children's theatre. There was TDIASA, which is for employers. There were all these organizations that were representing their own people within the theatre and dance. Then I look and I'm like, who's here for dance? Lesego van NieKerk. That was wrong for me. That felt so wrong for me because I was like, there's no way that I can speak for the whole sector. I can speak, but I can't, as Lesego van NieKerk, I can't come sit at a table with SAGA and ASITEJ and TDIASA and House of Crew and speak for dance. I went back to the ladies. I said, ladies, we need South African Dance Alliance so that we can go there and represent the way SAGA's representing actors. We can represent dancers.
Yeah.
So then the ball came back and then we were like, we're doing this thing. But at that point we were registered, like things were done and whatnot. And then we just did it. We did it. We formalized ourselves in August of 2021. I was then voted in as the chairperson. We've got an entire national steering committee, our deputy. We've got a few provincial representatives. And that's SADA. And what our MO is in SADA is to represent and advocate for the interests of dancers in the country, because that's not happening.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. And organizations like SADA, they open your mind a little, because like when you think theater, honestly, you think play, you think acting, and that's it. You think it's just a building, you go and watch a play and you go and watch. But then when you hear about theater and dance, you're like, how does dance meet theater? Like, how does that happen? So it's very interesting to discover things like this and to get to understand that there's actually more things that can accommodate what you do and what you love. So
I was actually earlier this year, when the new leadership for TADA, I was actually elected as the new chairperson for that, which in the beginning was a bit scary for me because I was like, hey, chair for SADA and TADA. But a few months later, I realized it was an opportunity to actually merge the two, because really it's just that the one is focused on dance and the other is focused on the bigger picture. But yeah, so I'm actually chairing SADA and TADA.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So you're also the managing director of NieKerk. It's a production company. Tell us about it.
NieKerk is a production company owned by Lungile Temba. Dear friend of mine, extremely talented. Uyamazi Lungile, you know Lungile.
I met him.
Yes, you know Lungile. Extremely like dangerously talented human being. And Lungile asked me to come on board as a managing director of his company.
Oh wow. So like, what does it do? Like, is it also for dance? Is it
mainly theater? Lungile is a musician at heart, but he's also a theatre practitioner. So, for instance, the recent thing that NieKerk did was a showcase of its upcoming production of Sigelela, which is an opera theatre show about Enoch Sontonga, who wrote the Nkosi Sigelela. So it's a proper theatre production. However, NieKerk is also focused on education. It's also focused on development. So we did a drive in the East Rand where we worked with the East Rand School of the Deaf. And that was ways of bringing arts to the deaf community, because I think sometimes we forget about the deaf people. So NieKerk also does work like that. Yeah, it's a very hearty space. It's a very hearty
it's
space.
very hearty.
Yeah.
Someone was actually asking me, I think on Monday or Tuesday, she was like, I really love acting. How do I become a part of a production company, theater production company? Since you do theater, I don't know if you can answer the question.
Yeah, it's funny. I was doing a talk the other day and a young person asked me exactly that question, just in terms of dance. It is hard to break into an industry like this, especially in a day like today where when I first emerged in the sector, how did I get in? Through an audition. There's very few auditions happening these days. There's very few of those setups that are happening where people can go into the room and audition against the best of the best and get picked. And I'm finding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm finding that those opportunities are fewer and fewer for young people.
That's true.
So for me, I say, identify where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Identify. Do you want to work at the Market Theatre? Do you want to work at Nalitembe? Don't be. Sometimes the problem with artists is we're too open-ended. Hi, I just want to dance. No, it's
You
time.
can't just want to
That's when
dance.
that's how you get taken advantage of, you know. Be specific. Where do you want to dance? Where do you see yourself? Do you want to dance for Gregory's company? Do you want to dance for Vianney Dance Theatre?
Yeah.
Do you want to dance for MID? Do you want to dance for
Yeah.
Daramasi? Do you want to dance for Deborah Cousin? Do you want to way? It's very important. You need to place yourself as an artist. It's not to limit yourself. It's just so you can start forging a plan. Once you've identified where you want to go, find out who's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in there? Find those people. Social media. When I started, there was no social media. Facebook only started when I was on my way back from my first trip in America. So, well, that's when I joined Facebook. So maybe it started before, I don't know. But my point is, today you've got so much access. There's Instagram, there's what. Find out who's in. So let's use the Market Theatre for an example. Find out who's in the Market Theatre. Then find those people on social media. Now, when you decide to slide in their DMs, don't do that. Hi.
How are you?
How are you? Don't do that thing. These people are busy.
Yeah.
They're busy. I'm a busy person. I get straight to the point. I don't do the hi. Hi, Lesego. I am whoever. I come from a place like this. I'd really like to work at the Market Theatre. Mm-hmm. Can I come in and do whatever? That's the thing as well. Be prepared to go in and do whatever. Be prepared to go in and learn. Hi, I'm Gregory Makoma. My name is Lesego van NieKerk. I'm a really huge fan of Vianney Dance Theatre. Mm-hmm. I watched you guys at Sion in February at the Joburg Theatre, and I thought it was amazing, and it's my dream to perform with you guys. Could I please come and sweep the floor when your dances are done, class? Get your foot in the door. Then you will develop. That's what I would say to young people. Find a way to get your foot in the door. Be prepared to sweep the floor. Yes. Be prepared to give the dancers water when they get off the stage. Yes. And be prepared to do it for no pay. I always say to young performers, I say, guys, your value does not end from your skill set as a performer. My value, and this is why I can still work, I have not been on stage to perform professionally in 3 years. But I'm still relevant. Yes. Because my value goes outside of my ability to dance. I'm able to show that I am a person of value. So how do you show that you're a person of value? After rehearsal, stay with the choreographer. Can I help you take your Bluetooth speaker into your car? Let me just pick up this litter. I see these dancers. Start becoming of value. Yes. So then when people start thinking about you, they think about you as more than just a dancer. You're that dancer that I can really rely on. Now, when she's responsible, I can rely on her. Whether she's dancing or not, it doesn't matter. I want her in the room with me. So those are the few techniques that I'd say today use. But obviously, get yourself in the room. Get yourself in auditions. If you know that a choreographer is, and I'm always going back to dance because that's my world. But yes. If you know that a choreographer is rehearsing for something, Deborah Cousin right now is rehearsing for Miss South Africa right now. If I was an upcoming dancer and I saw her post on Facebook like I did the other day, I am DMing her to say, hi, Debbie, can I just come and dance in the back and just learn the choreography? Very few choreographers will say no. Very few. Mm. All they'll say to you is, I don't want to know you're there. No phones, no recording, no pictures. Don't. Many choreographers don't have a problem. They really, really don't, but people are afraid to approach people.
That's true.
Approach people. Can I just come in the room and I'll be quiet. Can I just learn?
And a funny story. So I get to Joburg 2019. I don't have family, I don't have friends, I don't know anybody in Joburg.
Where are you from?
I'm from Pumalang, Piet
Okay.
Retief. So I don't know anybody. I just come, I'm at dress. I have to do this biochemistry course. I don't know what biochemistry is. I don't know what I'm gonna be studying. I don't know what I'm gonna do after studying. I literally don't know anything, but I'm here because I have to get to Joburg because I love arts and Joburg is like, So I spent the whole of 2019 depressed. My results were very good. Passed all my modules and all of that, but like I didn't go anywhere. 2020 COVID comes and you can't go to campus and just distractions and stuff. You are here 24/7. And when you wake up, you're like that art thing that lives inside. Because I believe that art is a whole spiritual thing, man. It's there and it's like nurture me, feed me, nurse me, like God. And it's just like so towards the end of 2020, I'm talking to my friends, I'm like, dog, I'm very depressed, I'm not okay. I just wanna be in an art space. I don't even wanna be on stage and perform. I just wanna be around artists and I know that I'm gonna be okay. And she's like, so DM people. I'm like, what do you mean DM people? She's like, go on social media and DM people. Ask them where they hang out, ask them where they go, ask them where they're gonna be performing. I'm like, she's crazy. And then I go back to my room and then I'm sitting there, I'm like, what do I have to lose? I DM'd a lot of people and 95% of them replied. And 100% of those replies were, I'll actually be performing wherever. No, actually follow this page because they usually host. No, there's this. No, there's this. Like, when going home, I would get a taxi at Wanderers. I would pass the Market Theatre. I didn't know there was the Market Theatre. So I watched my first theatre show ever, end of 2020, because I had to go. And like I said, a taxi passes Market, but I had to Uber to Market because I don't know where Market is. I didn't know anything. And then from there on, I met very, very good people. And they were so open. I remember I met Motlacho and she was just like, come, let me introduce you to my friends. This is Masai Ports. This is Sia who does what this. This is Enes. He's part of Vuyani. This is whoever. They give me their numbers. I text them and they don't be like, no, who's this? They're like, yeah, sure, come, this. And from there on, it just went up. And then I found Optop Shishini was actually they were looking for volunteers. I was like, I'm interested in this theater thing, so I have no idea what it is, but I want to learn. So I DM them, I tell them I want to volunteer. They're like, okay, sure, come. We're actually doing a first show this week. I start there. I think I volunteered for like 2-3 months. Then I was hired as an intern. I was a creative production manager, and they actually referred me to the gig where I met you for Stunt Foundation. And from there on, it just went up. And I was just like, you just have to take that leap. You just have to reach out. You just have to ask because people are always willing to help.
The misconception, I think, and it's a thing that in South Africa we really need to kill. The misconception is people think artists are celebrities.
Yeah.
Artists are not celebrities.
True.
And not all celebrities are artists.
True.
I'm going to say that again. Artists are not celebrities, and not all celebrities are artists. We have to understand that. So I think sometimes this thing, this fear, this fear of reaching out to people, you think that you're reaching out to a god.
Yeah.
Artists are the realest people in the world.
True.
They are the realest people. And artists know struggle. Artists know hardship.
Yes.
So when a young person comes and says, I just wanna, I'm getting goosebumps because I'm just imagining a young person just saying, I just wanna. Me as an artist, knowing where I come from, I want to help this person.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying we need to understand that artists are not celebrities because it's a different world. It's a different ball game.
It is.
You mentioned very important things. So Updope, they're always looking for volunteers.
They are.
Contact Jeff, guys. Just be like, Jeff, can I just watch you work? Tin Town Theatre, Tseporatona.
Yes.
He's got a huge space there that just go there.
And learn something.
He's always willing to help people. Tin Town Theatre. The TX Theatre, Etembisa, right now they were looking for volunteers. They want to do a bunch of shows and whatnot.
Just go.
So I've already given you guys like
just go.
3 of the gents that are really doing it in the game right now. I mean, there are so many people.
And they're amazing. And there's this thing, that you mentioned about being useful. Would usually say to me, "Don't be the girl." When I was still volunteering, she'll be like, "Don't." He will be like, "Don't be the girl." When we go to shoot somewhere, or he will be like, "Don't be the girl." The girl that's just gonna see it. The guys are carrying the equipment. The guys that he will be like, "Do not be the girl." He would remind me that every day, and it changed how I think. It changed how I look at things, because I believe I can actually do everything. I can do everything. If I want to do it, I can actually do it. I don't have to think, "Oh, it's okay. Maybe I can." No, I can actually do it. So people are always willing to help, and people are gonna guide you. Like people that know. Earlier you mentioned about how when you got to African Footprint, you were looking at you were listening, and that always helps. People are always willing to share advices because they have experiences. They've experienced the things that you might go through. So if you ask for advice, you're not gonna go through them.
Sometimes you don't even have to ask anyone anything. Open your eyes.
Nah.
Open your ears,
True.
guys. Sometimes you don't. A lot of the things that I learned was not because I sat down with someone and said, "Right, tell me everything you know." No. I was also very shy. But I kid you not, I used to watch the ladies at Footprint. I used to watch, what time is she doing her makeup? Why is she doing her makeup now? Oh, because after warm-up, there's less time, which means if she does her makeup before, that means after warm-up, she can go and have tea and calm her soul. Instead, just watch. I never had to ask anybody anything. Every now and then, yes, you need to ask questions every now and then. But I'm telling you now, if you just open your eyes, open your ears, listen and watch people, you'll learn so much. You'll, Dali.
Oh,
encyclopedia. And as an artist, you always have to be learning.
Yeah.
Because as a dancer, I can't dance forever, right? So I need to be watching my choreographer. I wasn't that dancer that was just sitting waiting for the choreographer to come up with the next. No, I'm watching her process. I'm watching, because one day I am going to be this person. Now that I'm a choreographer, I'm working with directors. Do you think I'm just going to get comfortable in my choreographer seat? No, because the day is going to come where I must direct a dance film. Ooh, did I just prophesy? But the day's gonna come when that must happen. So as artists, you also need to be very adaptable.
Yes.
You need to be able to move and shake. You can't just be, I mean, and so. You're gonna get left behind.
That's true. Tell me, what is your why?
I think I'm still finding my why. It's so crazy. My why is such a big thing. I always tell my mentees, anything that you do, understand your intention and understand why you're doing something. You know? What is my why? Right now, as the person that I am, my why has changed from maybe 4 years ago. My why 4 years ago was very selfish. It was all about me. It was me. I want to be on the greatest stages and I want to do this and I want to do that. And I did. I really, really did. I was on the greatest stages and I did do that and I did do that. And then life happens, you know, and I'm glad that life happened for me. Life doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to some of us. And it happened to me. And it put a lot of things into perspective. And even COVID really put a lot of things into perspective. And now my why really lies in bettering the sector and leaving it in a different state than what I found it. Especially for those that are coming after me. Because for me, it doesn't make sense that we are all in the same loop. We're all in the same loop. You can't be from a different generation from me, older generation, and you and I complaining about the same thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. It's like sitting here with somebody from 76 who was marching in 76. And I'm sitting here with them now in 2022. And we are complaining about the same thing. That for me doesn't make sense. And I think, thank you for asking me the question, because I need to go refine my why and really refine it. But that is my why. I really want to leave the sector better than I found it.
Yeah. And I think why do it if it is not to make it better for the ones that are coming after you? Because fine, we had hardships, fine, we are forcing this thing to make sure that it works, and we are experiencing all these difficulties, but why should the person that comes after you still experience the same difficulties if when are you able to make it? So I do think that my why is mostly about the people that are coming. They need to find it better. They need to find it a little smooth, and it might not be easy, but better.
I think another level of my why has to do with those that came before me,
Mm-hmm.
because in this life happening and rediscovering our whys and how we are as artists, I realized that's when I started realizing art, dance is a spiritual thing. This is a gift that I actually got from Abapansi Bambis. There's a
Yes,
lot that's
true,
going on, and
true.
starting to realize that why is my family, all of them, they're academics. Yes, I'm an academic, I'm an economist, sure. But they gave me this thing. Gore ke tsamaye mafatshe, ke boniwe mo
Mm-hmm,
di-televisioneng,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
why ba mphile this thing? Why ke dutse mo gone yaanong
Yes.
mo microphone, mo di-camereng? There's obviously some sort of isithunzi and that I need to bring forth for them.
Oh wow,
Because if not, then they wouldn't have chosen me. Then they
that's
would have
true.
given it to somebody else.
That's
So
true.
my why is very much about those that came before, but also then those that are coming after. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, wow. I'm always glad to meet people that define art the way that I do, because art is not ours, man. Like you don't just the things that I write. It's not me. Like I'm
No.
not that smart. I could be
No.
smart, but I'm not that wise. So it's just like they have to speak through me. They have to show things through me. Because just like you said, Uzi, your dad said the others after you, they're gonna go to America.
Yeah.
So they had to make sure Uzi sets the way to say
Yes.
it is possible to get out there. So just if you wanna, you can actually go. So tell me, do you think dance is getting the right recognition, opportunities, and respect?
No. Because if it was, I wouldn't have started the South African Dance Alliance with my
Sure.
sisters.
Sure.
If it was, we wouldn't have the Stand Foundation. Yeah, it's not. It's not. In fact, the dance thing is such a sensitive topic for me because I respect dance so much and I
Yes.
respect dancers so much. Dance is such a hard art form. It's difficult. It's hard.
I've tried
You have to
dancing.
dance for such a long time before you actually become a dancer. You know, it's such a, and even when you become a dancer, you have to keep training and you have to keep honing this thing. And what I find is that in this country, dance is a backdrop for other art forms. Dance does not have its own goof unless you're a Vuyani dance theater or a moving into dance. But we can't all be in Vuyani dance theater. We can't all be in moving into dance. If you look at simple things like the Psalmers, right? There's always dances. There's always, let me rephrase that. If you look at any awards ceremony,
Yeah.
we are at a sports award ceremony, we're at a music award ceremony, we're at a TV and film, we are everywhere. Yet we don't have our own dance awards.
Oh
Then
wow.
then you do things like these. Okay, so now you rehearse for these shows, right? They've got the dancers, you rehearse for these shows, then you go to the place where you're gonna, let's say Sun City, to the Super Bowl where the event is gonna happen. They call rehearsals, right? The first time you actually see the people that are being awarded. So let's use, for instance, the Summers. Musicians, I'm not bashing you, I'm making an example, but let's say the Summers. The musicians, you actually meet them at the stage when they come to do a sound check, not to rehearse, to do a sound check. I only experienced one musician that came for a pre-performance, and that was Jay something, because I had to do a bit of a solo with him. And he came to the rehearsals. I was so shocked that day. I was shocked. I watched Jay and he walked in and I was like, he's here. I knew the rehearsal was set, but it's been said so many times with so many different musicians throughout all the works that I've done where musicians are concerned. And they'd be like, no, Smart Man is coming. And they never come. But that day he walked into the studio and I was like, he's here. And we rehearsed Not Jay. And then we got to Sun City and then they called a rehearsal for the dancers. Jay came for the rehearsal that concerned him, which was me. So by the time I performed Not Jay, it was one of the most comfortable performances that I've ever done because he was there. The reason I'm telling the story is because when you do these shows like the award show, they call dancers rehearsal, then they'll call a camera rehearsal so that they know where the camera angles and we're going to catch this in this moment, we're going to catch this in this moment. Okay, that's nice. And those camera rehearsals, by the way, are always done without musicians. It's always the dancers that are there. Ne? Then you watch the show on TV and where's the camera?
Musician.
It's disrespectful. Don't call me for a rehearsal. Don't do it. Because it means that my time, my value, it means nothing to you. I'm a filler. I am a body for you. That's why I stopped doing those shows. I was like, it's been great. It was nice performing with Jay something, but I'm out of here. Because I can't be in a space where I'm undervalued.
Yeah.
You know, I can go on and on about the devaluation of dance in this country. It's bad. But for me, what the best that I can do where I'm at is to encourage dancers to be more than just bodies. Use your voice, guys. When there's a problem, use your voice. People get shocked when dancers speak.
Yeah.
People get shocked when dancers say, "Hi, sorry, I don't like that." Yeah? First of all, you speaking? Yes, speak up. Wow. That's the thing that I'll always say to dancers. I can't fix the problems that we have, but I can definitely encourage you to speak because people forget that we can actually speak.
Oh, wow. What advice would you give someone who wants to make a living out of art? Just art in general.
It's not easy.
True.
I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. There's no rainbows and shooting stars here. It's a tough sector to be in. Be honest with yourself. Are you good? No, be honest. Be honest, because
That's
sometimes
true.
you see it. No, you see it with these young people that go to shows like Idols. And then you ask yourself, but the people that you sang for, good for you to come and do this thing. I'm not bashing anyone. I'm just saying that we all have our skill set. We're not all meant to be on stage. We're not all meant to be artists. We're not all meant to be musicians. We're not all meant to be on TV. So there are certain fundamentals that you need to define for yourself before you decide that you can do this thing. I would not have gone to the Footprint audition if I didn't know that I was good enough to actually. So those are the first things, to know that it's not easy. B, do you actually have what it takes? C, you need to plan, especially when you're in a career like dance. You need to plan. You can't, yes, as artists, there's this culture of being free, willy-nilly. Yes, be free as an artist, but don't be so free that you don't have insurance. Don't be so free that you're not saving for your pension. Don't be so free that you're not on medical aid as a dancer. What's going to happen when you hurt your leg? So just pursue your career. I will never stop anybody from pursuing a career in dance, but I will always say, have your ducks in a row. And the best thing I ever did for myself as a dancer was to develop myself outside of dance. Because now the skill set that I've learned outside of dance, I bring it into my craft and it just makes me that much better.
Oh, wow.
You know, sometimes we try to operate in this bubble. Hey, I'm a dancer. Hey, you dancer. One day you won't be a dancer. Build yourself. And educate yourself even. Educate doesn't mean you have to go do what I did. You don't have to become an economist. But teach yourself stuff. Learn something outside of your craft. Learn one other thing outside of your craft.
True.
Just one.
Wow. And that's very, very important. Also, there's this saying that's popular where they say, make sure that the people that you hang around with or the people in your circle don't speak the language that you speak, don't have the same beliefs that you have, don't think the same way that you do, don't have the same career that you have, don't like the same food that you do. And I think that's very, very important because you get to learn, you get to adapt, you get to, oh, okay, so you're speaking this language, let me actually learn. Or even if you're not going to be like, let me perfect it or whatever, but you're going to understand it just so you can be able to know just understand. So,
Open
so
yourself up. There's
you
a
should.
huge
You
world. There's
should.
a huge
And
world.
the being honest with yourself is very, very important.
Yeah.
I sing all the time, but I will never say, I
Yeah.
know that I'm a horrible singer. I know that my voice is bad. I know.
Yeah.
But give me a pen and paper, I'm alright for
There
you.
you go.
I know that I'm good. So just be honest with yourself, man.
Mm.
Like some people say, nah, man, sometimes you just don't know. There's no way you don't know.
Mm.
People are not gonna lie to you. It's not like five people can lie to you, but not 20 people.
Yeah.
20 people are not gonna lie to you. So just be honest with yourself.
You have to be honest, yeah. Because I also see a lot of people and I'm like, yo, I Gabi, but what happened? Like, what? How? You're gonna
How did we get here?
struggle. You're gonna
Yeah.
struggle because did you sit down and really,
Yeah.
And another thing that I will say is that I think the misconception also with artists is that we are all performers. No, because if we are all on stage, who is recording?
Exactly.
Who's doing the sound check?
True.
Who's collecting the tickets? Who's marketing? Who's doing the publicity? Who's opening the door?
Exactly. Who's making sure the lights are like this?
Precisely. So just look outside.
Yeah.
And also, being performers as well, it can be such an egotistical thing.
It is.
Because and I think also that's why so many of us were so hard hit by COVID. Not just what it did to us from a lifestyle perspective, but internally. Our egos were bruised.
Nah.
Yes, because now my value and my worth is based on how my last performance was. Try and remove yourself from your ego. And I think the minute we start being able to remove ourselves, then we can be honest with ourselves.
Wow.
That's where we can be honest to say, I actually shouldn't be on stage. I should be rigging the lights.
Yeah.
I actually shouldn't be on stage. I'm a really good marketer.
Yeah.
I should go market.
True.
Once you can remove yourself from that ego of, look at me under the lights and the makeup and then you can really start honing yourself and building yourself as a human.
True. Oh, wow. Do you think there's a difference, but like dancing for theater, for commercial and the TV appearances that you've made? Is there one that you prefer?
Is there one I prefer? No, and I don't know many people that have had a career like me, where I started in a dance company that was also theater based, came back, fell into corporate theater. Then I was in concerting and touring with Lyra and being in concert DVDs. Then I was in music videos. Now I'm dancing with a dance company, and then now I'm in musical theater. Now I'm in an opera. Now it's been I've had a very, very diverse career. But I can't say there's one that I prefer. I'd say where my true self is probably in the theater.
Yeah.
Because that's where I was trained.
Yeah.
That's my grounding. That's my basis. So that's where my true heart is. But I'm a performer. So that's the other thing. Just to, artists and whatnot, find yourself and take yourself and put yourself everywhere you go. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes people like, oh, but this world, no. The world is going to keep changing. You
True.
are who you are.
True.
You are who you are. So if you're in the theater, be Lesego in the theater. Bring yourself to the theater. If you're dancing with Lyra, bring yourself to Lyra's captured tour. If you're going to be in an opera, okay, cool. But bring yourself. So it's also important that you actually understand yourself as an artist and understand what your niche is and what actually makes you you.
Oh, wow. And that's very important. I was talking to a friend of mine who wants to start something. It's not really something like this, but it is for like musicians and stuff. He's a music collector and he loves music, different genres and all of that. So he just wants to like dive, and he's always discovering these new artists that are brilliant.
That sounds awesome.
So he wants to just like try to give them, a platform. So I was talking to him because he was like, this whole scripting thing and admin thing for your own podcast that seems to be going on. So can you help me? And I was asking him these questions of, what do you want to ask the people? Do you want things that are trending? Do you want to ask them about their personal lives? Do you want to ask, because you need to know and you need to know why you want to know that.
What's the mandate?
Exactly. What is that? Because if you was to come here and I'm asking you questions that are irrelevant to Hearty Thursdays and what I'm trying to build, then
You're
what am I
losing
trying to
it.
do
Then you're
exactly?
losing
Because
it.
people
Yeah.
just wanna trends, but the right people are gonna find you. You don't have to hop into trends all the time. The right people are gonna find you. If you are authentic and you stick to what you are, there are people that love exactly that and that want exactly that. So just stick to what you
Yeah.
to who you are.
If you watch me in African Footprint, which is I'd say a dance company / theater, then go and watch me in Chicago the Musical, which is musical theater. Go watch me in one of Lyra's DVDs. Go watch me at the Psalmers with Jay Something. Go watch me in a music video. They're all so different, but that girl is the same person. It's the same person. So it's what I'm saying, to say you need to, and also that is what will get people to keep calling you.
Yes.
Because they know what they're gonna get from you.
Yes.
They know,
exactly.
okay, this is, I know Lesego, this is not really Lesego's world. Like, I get it. Like, this is not Lesego's world. But I'm gonna get this from Lesego.
Yes.
Because
yes.
Lesego ke motho o so.
Yes.
And she's like this, and she's like this. So in this world, I can see her being like this.
Yes.
And already, for instance, when I went to Chicago the Musical, I feel like they had already casted me. They already knew who I was going to be, because they already watched my body of work, which is all over the place. But they were like, here's June. Here's June. This is, you know what I'm saying? So it's really about really understanding yourself as an artist, what it is that you bring to the table.
Oh, wow.
And what you bring to the table is not the same as what somebody else brings to the table.
And it shouldn't be, because you should be you. People know what they're looking for. People that are willing to spend money, they know what they're looking for. And if you're not that, they're not gonna settle. So if when you're just trying to be everywhere, and by saying find yourself and do that thing, I'm not saying it's gonna be one thing. It's definitely not gonna be one thing. I do a lot of things, but all of them, they are umama. Like, you can see me in each and every one of them. So if I was to try to then be something else, you would see we're trying to force things, it's not gonna work. You conduct workshops and teach. How is that experience?
I love it. I don't think I'm a teacher. I don't think I'm a teacher in the sense of, people have always said, when are you opening your dance school? Hey, I think I'll open it when I'm 70 years old. Because to be a teacher is one of the most crucial jobs in the world.
True.
You can't, if you call me now to say America, I'm going now. I'm going now. As a teacher, you can't do that. Because what are you saying about the young people that you are leaving behind? So I don't call myself a teacher, because I'm not selfless enough to be a teacher in that sense. I'm selfless enough to be a leader and do the work that I'm doing, yes. But to teach children on a day-to-day and to know that these children, they look at me like that, no, I'm not that. But what I am is definitely, I'm a brilliant coach. I'm a very good coach, because I've got a good eye. I understand dance and theater. Like, it's the thing that I know best. So I'd rather walk into a space, if it's a workshop space. Usually my workshops, I focus on teaching presence as a performer. So, and I'll teach that through the medium of jazz dance. But I don't walk in to teach you the technique of jazz. Okay. Unless you call me and say, come and teach me the technique of jazz, then I will do that. But as a workshop, my strength is to come in and teach you the presence of a performer. Because that's what I realized when I was saying, know yourself as a performer. That's part of my niche. Yes. I know that I've got presence as a performer. I've learned how to, I can stand on stage for 5 minutes and do nothing, and you will watch me. You will watch me do nothing. Yeah. So that's what I teach in those workshops. And it's great. I love it, but I love being a coach more. Yeah. I love being a coach more than giving workshops, because as a coach, I see my influence directly. I see you, you come to me as you are, and I say, I think if you did this and if you did this, I'm not teaching you. I'm now Nyakshepa. Yes. That for me is amazing, because I'm like, whoa, girl, when you walked in here, you were all over the place. And 2 hours later, this is a piece. So I really love that. I love coaching. Yeah.
Tell me, what's your biggest challenge that you've had in your career?
My biggest challenge was having to step off stage. I had to step off stage in 2019. I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a cancer of the lymphatic system. I was in Chicago the Musical, which was the pinnacle of my career. I was in the best shape of my life. My six-pack never looked better. I was really, really doing well. And while I was doing well, I realized, Uguti, something's not right. And I decided to be responsible enough and go check out, Uguti, what is the problem? And Bob, I was really ill. I was very, very sick. And I think a lot of the time what we do as artists, and I'll speak for dancers, because dancers, we taught this thing of no pain, no gain. Push through the pain. Une injury. I just take a Myprodol, you'll be fine. Yeah, the show must go on. Those things have happened so many times in my career. And I think that was the first time I actually chose myself. Whoa, Soho. Woo! Jeez, I've never actually said that. But I think that was the first time I actually chose myself. And when I knew what was happening, I called our director and our producer. I said, I'm stepping off. I'm stepping off the show. I remember that opening night. It was so terrible. The week before the opening night, so we had toured, we had done the world tour, and we did our season at Artscape, and then we came to Monte Casino, and that's what we've been building up for. You know, Joburger's home, and everybody's waiting. And like, for me, I knew that my community and people were waiting. I was the only woman of color, like, let me say the only Black woman, because Ilse Klink was also there, and she's a woman of color. But in the ensemble and as a dancer, I knew that I had this weight of people on me, and they were waiting for me, and they were so proud of me and whatnot. Hey, Safia Kaya. And now we're doing media calls. And guys, the weirdest experience I've ever had in my life is standing on a stage, which is the most comfortable space for me. And the stage lights were making me dizzy.
Goodness.
Yo. Having that day. But I pushed through. I watch that media call often. I watch it just to look at myself and be like, you were not well when you did this. You could barely see. Barely see. I don't know. When I watch that girl, I'm like, if people knew that you couldn't even see. Because even at the end of that media call, when we go off, my friend Craig knew that I was not well that day. He was holding my hand because I couldn't see. I had to rely on just knowing the stage and knowing the show. So anyway, after that, I spoke to our producer, who was Hazel Faltman, and Hazel was very, very supportive. And I said to her, I'm not well, Hazel. I need to take some time off. I took some time off. I said to her, I'll come back for the opening, because it goes without saying, I have to be in the opening. If I'm not in the opening, there's no this. You know what I'm saying? So, and for me, I had worked so hard to get to that point. But when I'm telling you that my condition for coming back and doing the opening of that show was to have a medic on site and an oxygen tank. So I was performing the show and running off stage after each performance to sit next to the medic with the oxygen tank. This is true story. And I did that for about 5 performances after. It's very embarrassing for me to say that I put myself through that. And then the one day I said, This is not a no pain, no gain situation. Nyakulala. Something's not right. And then I went, and I found out I know Hodgkin's lymphoma. And with immediate effect, I then I pulled myself out of the show. It was very hard because I did not do the Johannesburg run, and I missed Germany, I missed China, I missed everything. I missed the rest of it. But I chose myself, and that was the hardest thing. Yeah. So I was on lockdown before lockdown happened.
Imagine that. Just the year before. And like just in life in general, choosing yourself is very, very difficult. And I feel like it's a concept that is, we just use it. Like just like self-love. We're like, yeah, self-love. But actually doing it is like it's no game.
Yeah.
It is
and
no
creating
game.
boundaries with yourself.
It is no game. It is because you have to have those hard conversations and you have to reprimand yourself. And it's just like when someone else is reprimanding you, you feel bad. So imagine doing it to yourself and you have to be okay with it.
And we always talk about setting boundaries with other people. No, set boundaries. What about setting boundaries with yourself? In that moment, I had to set a boundary with myself and say, Lesego, this is too far. Girl, oxygen tank?
No.
Are you mad?
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So, what makes a dancer to stand out?
Ooh. Okay. Let me tell you what I look for when I look at dancers, and they tell me, and the things that tell me what kind of the artist they are. I'm going to get technical, but you're grounding. I wonder if you are grounded as a dancer and you understand the best dancers for me are the ones that perform their in-between steps. We always think that the most important thing, like for actors, we think the most important part is where they saying their lines and the
Oh,
monologue and ha ha ha. For
wow.
me, the artist is when they're not doing anything.
Anything. Oh my goodness.
That for me is the dancer. When, yes,
I'll never
fine.
watch movies the same.
If your leg, hey,
I'll never watch movies the same.
yeah. For me,
Wow.
it's not when you, because it's easy to deliver.
True.
It's easy to take your leg up there because it's expected. Do a jeté, lift. But for me, I look at how did you get to that lift? And how did you get out? Okay.
Oh, wow.
So Kona Manja, you're not dancing, you're standing in the corner. Mama, what are you? I'm watching you. What are you doing? That for me is really what starts to make
Oh, wow.
to set the dancer apart for me. I look at those, the small detail. I'm like, yo, this person's a dancer. This person, that's a dancer right there.
Oh, wow. How do you go about developing a routine as a choreographer?
Music. I'm led by the music. I'm always led by the music.
Nah.
Yeah. I sometimes I watch, I didn't know that I'm musical. I only learned that I'm musical when I became a choreographer. But I didn't know that I'm musical until I watch myself back and I see that even that if I watch that girl and I'm like, she's hearing things that I like. Even the steps that I make, I'm making them on the ding ding of the music. That was not what the choreographer gave me. It's what I just did with my body because that's what I'm hearing. So for me, when I create, it's always led off the music. I'm always led by the music. When the music crescendos, I have to crescendo with the music. And when the music decrescendos, I have to decrescendo. When it starts allegro and it goes, I have to do that. So I also watch sometimes with choreographers where I'm like, but can you not hear the music? The music is going ta-na-na, and you're here ta-na-na-na-na. Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
That's the first thing. But the second thing for me is an intention. Like, what am I trying to convey? It can be anything. It can be a small gig for some whatever. But I will never start a rehearsal process without sitting the cast down and saying, guys, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. And this is the message we're trying to convey. Even if it's a 2-minute flash mob, I say what. The intention is always important because also if your cast does not understand the intention behind what you are giving them, they will never deliver what you need them to deliver. So I always tell even my mentees when they're creating work and they're doing whatever, I always say, you need to sit your people down so that they can get into your mind.
Yes.
So that when you start giving them stuff, they understand, you know. So yeah, I'd say intention and music is what leads me when I'm creating routines.
Oh wow. Tell me about the best dance routine that you've ever seen or done.
Oh, I've done so many routines. Scene is tricky. I'll have to think about that. But done, physically for myself, done. I think one of the most epic things I've done, tap numbers. Tap numbers, the first corporate theater job that I got, I was given a job by Debbie Rakuzen. And she paid me a lot of money to do one number. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe my eyes. When I saw the number, I was like, is this what you pay me for one number? And then I got there and I was like, oh, that's why you pay me this much.
What do you mean by one number?
Oh, one number, like sometimes you do a show when you need to do 5 different dance routines. Or sometimes you just do one routine. So one number would be like one routine.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's another thing for young dancers. You need to understand that when you're doing a show, especially in the corporate world, if a choreographer comes to you and says, oh, you're doing 5 numbers, and then Ksasa, they come to you and they say, oh, you're doing one number, it can't be the same. Can't be the same. Your paycheck can't be the same because it means the amount of work that goes in, the amount of time that goes in is very, very different. So these days, it seems like it's just a show, you get 2 rand and that's what it is. And I'm like, but that's not how it works. It can't be like that.
Yeah.
One number, 5 numbers, very different. But anyway, it was for Bidvest. Bidvest does this show every year, the Bidvest Annual Awards, and it was in 2008. And the theme that year was Bidvest Rocks. So it was a rock and roll show. It was my first theater show. So I had come back from Footprint from America. Deborah Cousin choreographed African Footprint. So when we came back from America, and then we were rehearsing now to do the season at Gold Reef City. And I remember when we were starting rehearsals, I didn't know this woman, right? I'm still new. I'm still bright-eyed. I didn't know this woman. And the cast is panicking. Deborah Cousin is coming. I'm like, Kaibo, why are you all shaking? High reputation. Like she's, big standards and whatnot. Anyway, so this lady comes through. She meets me and she likes me, whatever. And she gives me a job for this Bidvest. She says, no, I want you to come and tap for me. I'd never seen anything like that. And the tap routine that she put us in, it was, I think there were about 30, 35 dancers in there. It was rock and roll. So we were in torn jeans. The gents were bare chested. The ladies were wearing these beautiful bras and leather jackets and leather belts. And
oh wow.
Hey, but it was going. And I'll never forget that routine because it was like it was my first tap routine. It was the first time I tapped on stage, and it was big, and there were drummers and there were musicians. It was huge. It was huge. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Where do you see yourself professionally in the next 5 years?
Professionally in the next 5 years, I see myself as a very integral part of driving the theatre and dance policy, which means being an integral part of the leadership of the theatre and dance sector. I see myself choreographing in big theatre houses. I'm having my Market Theatre debut in September, which I'm so grateful for. And for me, it's the beginning of many. Because there's labels to this thing. There's labels to this thing. And someday I'd really like to see myself as a CEO of some sort of institution in the sector. And I'll tell you why. I want to prove a point. Not to say, hey, nginchelile, but what I'm trying to say is, if you look at how our sector is run, the people that sit in management most of the time are people that are not artists.
True.
They're not artists.
They don't understand art. They don't even like it.
They did not do what we did.
True.
You know what I mean? But they are learned people. They come with their financial what, and they are the law what. Yes. So then they sit in these management positions.
And make decisions for artists.
Yes. And what happens is artists come of age, and especially in dance, once you hit 35, apparently, so kukil. So now you must go out. So you leave the sector. So what happens is we constantly losing people, and then to take up the space of what those people should be doing, becoming the managers, the CEOs, the directors. Wow. Those people are going, and we're taking people that are already okay in life, and we're putting them in those positions. I want to be that girl that says, but I was a dancer once. But now I'm a CEO of a dance company. It's possible. And we need to start making that trend. It shouldn't be a trend. It needs to be a norm where you know that this is where I'm going to go. But obviously there's a lot that needs to happen in between there. And that's why I'm saying, Jorge, as artists, yes, focus on your craft, hone your craft, but build yourself as a human. Build yourself, build a skill, refine a skill. So when the time comes, you can be the CEO of a dance company.
Oh, wow.
You can be a minister of arts and culture. You can be an MEC of the arts. We can start putting those people, because those people that are running the ship, they're not artists. That's a problem.
Yeah. That is the problem for artists, because even when you're trying to cry as an artist, no one's gonna hear it.
They don't understand.
Exactly. They don't get it. They don't get why. Yeah. They don't get it.
I'll even be satisfied with the 50-50. But at the moment, it's not 50-50.
It's not.
It's 98%. That's what it is. That's what it is. And that's my cry at the moment. So that's why I'm saying, I want to prove a point, not to say I want to show that you can be an artist and still elevate into that position and continue giving into the sector. So we don't lose people in the sector, because we keep losing people.
Brilliant artists.
We keep losing people because nobody knows where to put them.
True. So I have 5 questions. You're just gonna answer. Don't think too much.
Okay.
Your favorite memory?
My favorite memory? Oh my God. Anything that has to do with my family.
Ne?
Yeah, I've got so many memories with my family. Yeah.
What usually inspires you?
Music.
Nah.
Music.
Yeah.
As a dancer, inspires me as a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely music. Definitely music. I hear music and I just want to get up now and just create something.
Advice for aspiring dancers.
Advice for aspiring dancers: take your craft seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Work, graft. It's not easy.
Nah.
Work, graft, and get yourself in the room. Get yourself in the room. Whatever that means. If it means picking up the litter, get
Do
yourself in the
that.
room.
And I know this is a quick thing, but like getting yourself in the room allows you to understand how the room works, how the room operates. Then you'll be like, okay, actually, when I got inside the room, I wanted to do that, but I like this. I'm comfortable in this. I'm actually good at this. Just get yourself in the room.
Yeah.
2 people you wish to meet.
Ooh, Oprah. And Minister Natim Teto. I'd like to talk to him. Hi, Minister. I'd like to talk to him. Yeah.
One prayer that must be answered.
The liberation of my sector, man. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm also because we're talking art, my thoughts are very driven by the arts right now. But yeah, it's part of some of the things that really keep me up at night.
Yes.
You know.
And this question is really about the arts.
Yeah.
How do people see your work? How do people find you? Socials?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, I guess. Lesego_NieKerk. I don't post that much, but I am on Instagram. You can DM me. Don't do the hi. HUD. Don't do that. I'm not going to answer. Get to
How
the
was
point.
your day? What you going to do about it?
It's none of your business. It's none of your business. It's none of your business. But get to the point. Know exactly, yes. And it goes back to that thing of getting yourself in the room or contacting people that you want to work with.
Yes.
Know exactly what you want from those people.
Yes.
Don't expect them to tell you what they can offer you.
Yes.
No. Hi, Lesego. Listen, I'd like to shadow you next time you choreograph a show.
Exactly.
Get straight to the point.
Exactly. Okay, so I have a little game. So it's so I have different segments, ne? No, it's not even spicy. I have different segments. So already we've played like 3 games, and Nina was telling me, Lucy, you should name them. And I'm like, I can name some stuff, but some stuff they just, yeah. So for now, we don't have a name for it.
Okay.
But I'm gonna give you facts. And out of the 5 people that you sent me that are your favorites, you're gonna tell me who did that. Got it? And yours is actually better than the one that we played earlier. So yeah. So I'm not gonna use she or he because that's gonna give you the answer. Yeah. So they debuted with the piece Sorry 2018.
Sorry, in 2018. Was that Gallon Hooks?
No. No.
Out of the 5 people I sent you?
Yes.
In 2018, so it cannot be David. Can't be Serena. Did I put Bam Bam?
Yes, you did.
Mfaku Bam Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Bam Bam?
It was.
Okay.
It was. It was.
It's true, it is Bam Bam. Okay. Yeah.
This person was handpicked by the National Department of Education to be part of a writing team for curriculum and assessment policy for the creative arts from grade R to grade 12.
Surely that's David April.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, wow. This is easy. So this person at age 7, their dance group was the junior dance champion on Star Stage.
Star Search is American. Gallon Hooks. Yeah.
Well, okay. This one played Nelly in SABC 1 miniseries Dreamworld.
It must be the actor that I chose. There were 2 people. I wrote 2 people. It has to be Momo.
Yes, it is.
It
is. Oh my god, this is so easy. I should have made it a little hard. Okay. This one, they started painting as a form of pain relief since a head injury in late 2020.
Yeah, Serena Anderson.
Oh my goodness. You didn't even get one wrong. Like,
Well,
how does this work?
I got Bam Bam wrong in the beginning.
Okay, yeah.
But
Okay.
it's
I'll
because
take that
it's
one.
because Galen Hooks actually she choreographed to Sorry. So I was like, but that could not have been her debut because Galen has been choreographing
around.
for. Then I was like, no, then it must be Bam Bam.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Next time, sorry, if there is a next time, I'm gonna try to find a harder game. Because this one was very, very easy.
Yeah.
And I tried to find just random facts because I was like, let's throw her off a little, but she knows the people, so
I know my people.
yeah. Today we had a dancer, and I must tell you, I am very inspired myself. If you're a dancer, I hope this has helped you in some way or the other. Thank you, Lesego, for coming. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for having me.
Thank you for listening and thank you for watching. Please make sure that you tune in next week, Wednesday, for another episode. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, and hear this at. Please make sure you subscribe, like, share, and comment. If you would like to advertise your brand or products, email us. If you want to be part of our community and would like to find collaborators, do send us an email, and the email is mama4work@gmail.com, which is MAMMA, the number 4work@gmail.com. This is Umama Wazizwe, and I hope I am leaving you with a heart full of art. Thank you so much.
Thank you.